Hi everybody, thanks for tuning back into Crypto Mainly. My name's Lee. Got some interesting things to show you today, guys. Just some few developments and some interesting things I've stumbled across in the charts that I'd like to share with you. Let's jump straight into the content. Okay, so this is what I call my scribbly chart. As you know, most of you that have been watching the channel now for the last couple of weeks will know that this is the chart that I tend to trade daily. I did mention that this trade is something which maybe you may want to consider. I personally am sitting out. I'm not trading at the moment because of the amount of chop that's going on in the market. But there is a potential here. You've got a nice risk reward ratio there. Price action due to reject from this dotted line here. This purple dotted line. For those of you that don't know, is actually something which is a support line from the daily. If I just show you this, as you can see. So you can see there, let me just get rid of that for a minute. So you can see the purple dotted line, it is a support line from the daily. And you can see actually that price has dropped down below and is now coming back up to retest that breakdown. Hence the reason I'm suggesting that trade there. But as I say, guys, it's there is a potential that we may get a bounce from here. The price action is so choppy at the moment that personally I'm not going to be taking the trade myself. Let me just get things in the back end in the right place for us. Okay, so yeah, you can see there's a little bit of rejection already. You will note actually that from the low down the bottom here to the high. Let's just get my highlighters organised for you. So you notice the fib measurement from the low here to the high. This is actually the wicks came down and almost reached the 88.6, which is quite a common bounce area, and we are getting a bit of a bounce from there. But the volume and things suggests that this is only just a weak bounce, and that we're not going to get follow through and continuation higher. It actually looks like it's going to roll over. If we just look at the other chart that we've been looking at over the last couple of days, you can see on here that the RSI is trying to find support. The moving average is coming down and actually starting to, you can see the RSI is just starting to reject off that off the moving average line there. And if we add some volume on as well, you can also see that whilst price action is starting to trickle higher, we're actually getting lower volume, which again would suggest that that we haven't got the follow through. So it looks like this is going to actually roll over. And just one thing, this is a daily chart. I remember saying to you before that every now and then I like to do a fresh chart without the drawings and things on and kind of start again. There's a guy actually in our trading group called Sean. He's very kindly pointed this out to me. I had a look into it myself and found that actually, yeah, there is actually a very clear accumulation Wyckoff pattern going on here. You can see, the different stages. You've got PS here, which is here. The SC is the first low there. You've got AR at the top here, and then you've got obviously ST is here, this low here, and then you've got the highs which are here. You've got a slightly lower high which would make sense in the center here, but I think that actually this movement here is actually this peak here, which represents this one, and then we've got the highs here. These highs do go, on the schematic there, you'll notice that these highs are lower than this first punch up into resistance there. But I think that this is very clear what's happening here. You'll also notice, guys, I've noticed that there's a very clear bearish divergence here, very strong bearish divergence. Bear in mind, guys, this is the daily time frame. As you can see, that there's a very clear bearish divergence. If we look at the RSI peaks are getting higher and higher. Price action from this peak, as per the dotted line here, all of this price action is below this dotted line, and this peak here, you've got a lower high on price action, and from this peak to this peak, you've got a higher high, and that's called bearish divergence. A form of bearish divergence. There are three types of bearish divergence. They can be a little bit difficult to identify. And hence people do miss them. But there's what I can see happening here actually, guys. This little area here, I think, is actually this consolidation zone here, I can see us particularly now which I'll show you in a second, you know, us perhaps getting a large capitulation candle. We haven't actually had a large capitulation volume candle as such on any of the higher time frames now. Although having said that, the actual capitulation event from the 65k high up here down to the, you know, the lows of the 29,000 area down here, this actually was a huge capitulation event. And a loss of a lot of retail investors. All the on-chain metrics and things all show that this actually, believe it or not, was actually a larger capitulation event than what happened in the March 2020 COVID crash. So, you know, huge capitulation there. But we haven't actually seen, you know, if you look back through history on volume, you'll notice that the highs and lows, you usually get a big spike in volume on the weekly timeframes, on the higher timeframes. We haven't had that yet. And now looking at this, you know, the Wyckoff accumulation, it's very clear. You know, you can see very clearly that this is, you know, all of this chop, which we've been speaking about in the last few days, has been very difficult to trade. And that is exactly what Wyckoff is designed to do. It's designed to shake out the market participants. It's designed to take out the short positions and the long positions and collect up the liquidity for the later part of this Wyckoff schematic, where you get the actual pump and continuation higher. You know, I'm not saying that we're going to get to new all-time highs, guys. In actual fact, you know what my thoughts are on that, and I will come to that chart again in a couple of minutes. We'll go back to that. I think that the highs of this next move are going to be somewhere around the 58 to 60,000 mark, which, if we look on this chart here, let's just draw the you know, this. You've got this wick highs here, which are, you know, 57,800. I think that when we get up to this level here, anywhere, you know, in amongst this area, this is where we'll see the rejection, and then obviously the price leading down. So between 58 and 60,000 actually on there. I'd be surprised if we see 60,000 again. I mean, if we do get a wick above it, then yes, fair enough. But I don't think we'll get candle closes above 60,000 in actual fact this time. I think we're going to get perhaps a capitulation event, then the pump up into the summer, nice alt season through the summer, because I do still think that that is coming, that is going to happen. Obviously, if, you know, if we get a huge continuation to the downside from here, I mean, if we lose the 29,500 level here, the actual low, if you like, here on this side, you see that the actual very wick low is actually 28,750. I mean, if we do get candle closes below these dotted lines here, then, you know, it's basically curtains for a long while. Yeah, it will take a long time for Bitcoin and the market to recover from that. But this is what I think is happening. We've got a Wyckoff situation going on. We're going to get this spring, which is going to be the result of this bearish divergence confirming. I've put the red arrow there. Let me just move that down a little bit. You can see that red arrow is, you know, you've got the lows of the valley here. So you've got a peak here and you've got a peak here. The lows of the valley, if you like. So the valley is the valley between the two peaks. So when the if the RSI comes back down below that valley, that's when the bearish divergence is confirmed. And if that happens, we will get an accelerated move to the downside. And I think that's what's cooking, to be honest. If we look in, if I just zoom in for you for a moment, just excuse me while we'll zoom in here, you'll notice that the daily has lost the support here. We closed below and now we've come up and retested it. And to give you an idea of how important that is, if we look at that dotted line, you know, we've not closed below that dotted line at all, even going back to, you know, the beginning of the year, shall we say. So we've got like 20th of January there. 21st of January was the last test of that support. But even though we've had wicks down here, you can see the wicks, we've not actually had a candle body close below there. And now we have had this yesterday. We had a candle body closed down below. You know, Bitcoin is trying to fight its way back up into the pattern. I mean, if that does happen quickly, if it happens like today or tomorrow, then there's less likelihood that this downward move and this capitulation is going to happen immediately. We may get a bounce first and then the capitulation. But if you look at this bearish divergence and how it's forming, it's very strong, and it does look like that's what's going to happen, guys. I'm sorry that ever since I've started the channel, just so that everybody knows, I'm super bullish on Bitcoin long term. Ever since I started the channel, 20th of March, so only just over a month ago, You know, every video has been sort of, you know, warning people and preparing people and trying to like stop people getting caught out by these you know, these downward moves. You know, unfortunately, that's the market, and that's what's, you know, the facts are. The data, that's what the data is presenting to me, and that's what I need to present to you guys to be fair to you, just to warn you and keep you, you know, well informed and protected from these things. Because, you know, there'll be people that are trying to trade this that are just by the end of this point where we get this sudden capitulation, everybody just goes, oh, sod it, you know, and just dumps all their coins. Or their stop losses are hit and they get huge losses and taken out the market completely. We'll get a little bit of consolidation at the bottom like we do here. We'll get a little bit of consolidation at the bottom, and then we'll be off to the races into the summer, and people will be looking back in the summer thinking, Christ, you know, we should have stayed in the market. When the prices come back up here of Bitcoin, all the altcoins and the alt season will be kicking off, and people will be buying back into the top as we get sort of 50, 54, 56. People will start to pile back in, and unfortunately those people will be the ones that suffer again. So, you know, guys, be careful. You know, at the moment we've got some more move to the downside coming, I think, before we get the lift off. As I say, I'm expecting a nice summer alt season, followed by the corrective moves towards the end of the year, sort of October, November time, which I've covered in the previous video. But I will update that previous video, actually, guys, because there's been a lot of interest in it. In my sort of mid to long term thesis of what's going to happen. So I am going to update that over the next couple of days. And guys, thanks ever so much for your comments and everything, and for liking and subscribing. One thing I just want to start, you know, just to finish up on is a bullish, you know, a bullish scenario for those of you that need to be kept alive with hopium, okay, myself included, and that is the Dixie. Lots of people talk about how bullish the Dixie is. You know, you've got this this move here that's going back to the end of last year. You know, price action has just been going up and up and up and up and up and up and up, and it looks really fantastic on the face of things. But guys, look, we've got a huge. This is the 3-day time frame. 3-day time frame. We've got a huge bearish divergence forming here, and you can see, if I just move that slightly, you can see that the RSI is coming up into the bullish control zone and is actually starting to reject from the bullish control zone. Bear in mind, this is a 3-day time frame, guys, so this will take a while to play out. You know, maybe even a couple of weeks, but I do think we're going to see this roll over, and prices are going to come back down. Maybe that will be as a result of some of the you know, the Fed news in May. Perhaps that'll be the catalyst that creates this downside. But as we know, guys, you know, the inverse effect, the Dixie has an inverse effect on cryptocurrency and stocks and things. So if this does roll over and start to come down, we'll see great, you know, some nice action in traditional markets, and also that will, you know, obviously overflow into the crypto market. If we do break up through resistance and we start to see prices close above 102.50, then you know, we've got to be prepared, because if this does break out and continue to the upside, then of course that will be bad news for traditional markets and for cryptocurrency. But looking on the face of this, guys, you can see here is very clear and you know, extremely sort of savage looking bearish divergence which is forming. So there's you know, there's a small possibility that we're going to avoid this price coming, you know, this price action coming back down to the downside. So once again, thanks for listening, guys. Please like and subscribe. Just before I go, just to remind you that I have got, I am on Twitter, so at CryptoMainly. You can follow me on Twitter at CryptoMainly. There's the man, look, Michael Saylor, the boss, and obviously, you know, I've got NFTs available at the moment, currently on Opensea and on Rarible, and there's going to be some interesting things coming on that in the sort of in the mid to distant future, shall we say? Yeah, I can't give you details on that, unfortunately. But by all means, pick up the NFTs. They're 0.1 Ethereum at the moment, which is about $300, and I think you'll find that they'll provide value. I can't promise anything, as you know, legal sort of. You know, there's a lot of legal wranglings and things that you need to try and avoid. But if you invest in buying a token, an NFT for my project at this early stage, while I'm just launching on it on YouTube and things, then you know, then I will be looking back to see who was supporting me at the early stages, and trying to look to do something nice for them in the future. All the best, guys. Thanks ever so much for listening. Always remember, take profits and buy something real. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a lovely weekend. Take care, guys.